Will the Calgary Flames trade Johnny Gaudreau and or Sean Monahan? Probably, man. Like, I love the Flames, and I really do think one, if not both, of these guys are out of town. But honestly, I think there's a good chance they would keep Gaudreau over Monahan. But on the other side of the spectrum, Gaudreau would fetch you a better return than Monahan. I know Monahan is the center, but Johnny just has way more talent than Sean Monahan does. And it's kind of well known around the league and in Flame circles that Sean Monahan, I mean, it's kind of harsh to say that he rides Johnny Gaudreau's coattails, but Johnny Gaudreau definitely helps set up a lot of Sean Monahan's goals. So I do think that Gaudreau, even though he is the winger, has more value than Monahan does. That being said, I think that if the Flames trade Johnny Gaudreau, I do not think that Taylor Hall or Matthew Tkachuk could step in and be as productive a first-line left winger as Johnny Gaudreau could. And I know Johnny had a really down season this year, but at his best, his talent is unmatched on this Flames team. So I really do think that if they trade him, it's going to be tough to stay incredibly competitive and even more competitive. But I do think that if you trade Monahan, you could slide Elias Lindholm into that first-line center spot, maybe get somebody else to fill that $6 million cap hit that Monahan has, so that the Flames can stay competitive in the very near future. Maybe that's where you can go get a Taylor Hall, so you can have a Lindholm at center, Gaudreau, and Hall first line if you wanted to. So I think that that's a very viable option. And maybe fetch a good first or second round pick for Sean Monahan and a second or third line player who could step into the Flames lineup, maybe add some grit and some skill, some scoring touch. I'm not saying these guys are available, but I'm just saying these names off the top of my head for guys who you could package with a draft pick for a player like Sean Monahan, who is 25 years old, a big, strong center. You could still get some really productive years out of him if you put him with the right players. Somebody like a Jason Zucker in Pittsburgh is a type of guy I'm looking at. A Nick Foligno, for example. And Andreas Janssen also. Like this type of player where he's productive and you could get some good production out of him, but he's also not a star or somebody that's going to make you say, whoa, that's a really good player that you're giving up there for a Sean Monahan. Like, don't get it twisted. Sean Monahan has a good amount of production in his career in the NHL so far. He's got 3 or maybe even 4 30-goal seasons, and every single season he's been in the NHL, which I believe is 7, he's scored over 20 goals. Now, I know you can attribute that to Johnny Gaudreau, but Sean Monahan still scored 20-plus goals every single year in the show, the toughest league of hockey in the world. And you know what? That doesn't mean nothing. So his value, while it is not as high as Johnny Gaudreau's, it is still pretty damn high. And to close off this video, I want to talk about what I think would be a really juicy, sexy proposal for the Flames for Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan. This is the type of deal that I think maybe you could package both of them and talk about one of the biggest blockbuster deals in the history of the NHL. Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan for Jack Eichel of the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Whoa, Jack Eichel is a top 5 player in the NHL, and Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau are nowhere near that. But together, you're talking about a complete revitalization of your franchise and a fresh start for these two players who've been getting criticized pretty harshly in Calgary. So you trade these two guys together. On the low end, you're looking at 130 to 150 points from them. But if they have a really great season or two together and you give them a good right winger like a, say, Sam Reinhart, for example, they could really produce and give you more points than what one Jack Eichel could do on his own. And for the Flames, you get a new number 1 center who's big, strong, tough. He's got finesse. He's got grit. He's got skill. He's got everything you could want. He could really be a key player for your power play. He's your new franchise player. Who knows? Maybe Matthew Tkachuk really works well with Jack Eichel, Lindholm, Mangiapane. You've got guys you could pair with this guy, whereas in Buffalo, it was kind of dry for Eichel at times, where he didn't exactly have the best of line mates to play with. But in Calgary, the options would kind of be abundant. And you know what? I know Eichel has a pretty big cap hit, but it's still less than Gaudreau and Monahan together. So maybe that frees up enough spots, enough cap space to go out and get a Taylor Hall, and maybe he can play with Eichel. So that's just me spitballing. Let me know what you guys think of this one. First of all, do you think Gaudreau and or Monahan will be traded this offseason by the Flames? Let me know some of your trade proposals. I'd love to hear them. I'm really interested by them. And yeah, that's it.